A giant pillar of fire fell straight down on the area where the mixed beast men were about to jump, temporarily separating the bull demon king and forcing the enemies to retreat. This is the fireball, but Long Dig Guard's quick legs avoid it, but I couldn't help but be surprised that the person who shot this fireball was He Choling, who was fighting with Wom Hao. No, baby, if you think He Choling is the only one who knows how to play with fire, then you're wrong. There's someone in my family who knows how to spit fire. The nine-tailed fox closed his fiery mouth and angrily looked down. The damn group of people who dared to bully my brother. I will kill you guys. The rumbling sound of explosions echoed everywhere in the forest, from the top of the earth sphere to the surrounding dusty waves. The flower observed the situation. After a long moment of hesitation, he spoke up. Why did your brothers fight like that as soon as they arrived? No one wants to protect a valuable flower like you and an injured brother here. The horse's mouth full of teeth made a loud noise and galloped towards the bull demon king. By the way, when people and animals mixed up and fought, they stole some things. The horse rushed forward with all its life. Just one bite was enough to destroy the flower. The flower screamed loudly. Oh my God, the second big brother, please think of a way to save me. Why are you still sitting there? The bull demon king is tired, so why is he screaming? He stared at the leader horse and said, it's okay, baby. Don't worry about him at all. Oh, what do you mean? It came and chewed my head. The horse acts like a grasshopper. It jumped up on the rocks and rushed down to the bull demon king with its teeth about to eat the flower. But the second big brother just sat there silently. King of Wine from the nowhere launched a straight punch with his flying stork's wing and collided directly with the horse's head, knocking it back a distance. Ninth big brother appeared extremely grandly without any scene of crawling on the ground. He also flashed an extremely sexy smile that made a strong impression on the flower. Even though it's just a flower, it still knows how to fall in love with a guy and compliments him on how handsome he is. The world of flowers has changed color from now on. Ninth big brother showed off to his senior bull demon king, smiling happily. Hello brother, I'm here to save you. Officially took away the fragile heart of the seven-colored flower. That elf horse was punched so hard that his whole body hit the earth ball with his nostrils. King of Wine landed in front of the second big brother, still smiling with shiny teeth. He smiled and said, I arrived on time. Your smile is now the sunshine for my flower to photosynthesize. Why does a seven-colored flower turn red? Even if you are a flower, the addiction to boys can only be cured by reincarnation. He didn't dare to speak, so he just hovered above and listened to Ninth Big Brother jokingly teasing Bull Demon King. Oh, how you were beaten so miserably by them. Bull Demon King, familiar with his brother's provocative nature, just reminded him. Those people are level 2, so you should be careful. King of Wine used his 2 legs to get here in time to join the fight. Now, no matter how strong he is, he could beat him. He then raised his face and laughed. Please let me handle it. With me here, you can rest assured and heal. It's ready to join the fight again. Gently turned back to look at the second big brother. See you later. I'm coming. Guys, who says the King of Wine can't fly? Its 2 small legs jumped so high that its face still looked very aggressive. Luckily, I finished the task or my boss would call me lazy again. King of Wine jumped away like a superhero. The flower naturally ignored the Bull Demon King despite carrying her for a long distance and was beaten to a pulp. She went on to compliment him on how handsome this bear was. King of Wine's side looks very cool. The stupid tiger side has been fighting for a while now. It bared its fierce teeth and flew towards the big-nosed guy. Don't you dare look at my sister Kim Chiang like that and I'll chew your head off. The guy with the big nose threw off his cape and hat. His whole body looked big, not just his nose. He backed away from the tiger's reach and cursed. This whore is too strong, damn it. If you continue to fight, the person who will die is you, no one else. Damn, had to use the last move even though I didn't want to at all. He clasped his hands together and his cheeks puffed out to look like a toad while his eyes closed tightly. To add to his toad disguise, he expanded his belly to an extremely large size, emitting a blue light all over his body, spit out a pile of jade-green mucus that swept the entire forest where the stupid tiger stood, not just him. The water from which he has a big nose was like a tidal wave of hydroelectric tiger water, rolling in and washing away everything. Something stupid didn't hide and stood on a ledge, waiting for only 1 minute and 30 seconds. Only a dry skeleton remained. But in the middle of the area where the green water waves swept past, there was still a bulge of something like a bubble. Water bubbles blocked the flow. The big-nosed guy didn't see it because he was busy breathing heavily. All around is smoke. After the water from his stomach cleared the forest to swallow the spirit flower, the big-nosed guy stored a huge amount of acid in his stomach, so his stomach swelled up like that. Guys, it's not because he's fat. He's really muscular. That's his last move and his trump card. If you've released it, you just hope it's the target. Consuming your physical strength won't achieve anything. The big-nosed man decided to use his 2 legs to escape, thinking that he had no connection with the flower. But if a stupid tiger is allowed to escape, it is already a smart tiger. In just a split second, he jumped up and pressed his shoulders down. Just at the mouth level, the mouth was open, full of fangs. The big-nosed man felt like he was about to be eaten. Stupid tiger sinks its teeth into people. The blue light glows brightly and then gradually fades away. On the battlefield with King Kiang, a series of strong earth spikes rose up and skewered, sandwiching a long dead guard in the middle. Run again. How long did it take for King Kiang to catch him? As long as your 2 feet are still on the ground, you are in my territory, brother. Seeing that he was about to die, the long-dead guard screamed and cursed. That son of a bitch who betrayed humanity. I don't care if you and that girl are human or something so powerful that you joined Dashin Labyrinth. You guys are dead. It's a good curse, but the old King Kiang doesn't care anymore, so he ignores it. If you talk too much, just keep quiet. King Kiang gritted his teeth and used his 2 hands on the ground to command the growing soil to stab the other person to death. Please give me some blood to water this wild land. That muscular arm, covered in injuries, protruded from the earthen tower and could never move again. Let the Lom-Din guard above scream loudly in pain. 9 brothers, 9 brothers. Too noisy. A ray of yellow light from behind suddenly shot past the long-dead guard. He was in pain, but still successfully dodged. That power lost its target and crashed straight into the earth ball below. Nine-tailed Fox took action to remind him to stop looking east and west. Don't you dare look down on me, that human. Before he could curse the human, he saw the golden light of his sword swinging towards it. Sword light is a move that has both multiple and visual effects. He released a series like that, then combined them all into one move and then swung it strongly towards the nine-tailed fox in the air. It is about to respond. Ninth big brother was so free that he suddenly jumped up in front of the nine-tailed fox. Just now, he was running so slow that he didn't have a chance to show off. Now, he wanted to ask for a few seconds to show off, so he screamed loudly, "Leave it to me." King of Wine used his head that grew a tuft of hair to smash down on the sword, causing it to shatter like glass, leaving him with no need to use his hands or feet. Nine-tailed Fox just stood there watching his younger brother hit people with his head. Long Dead Guard panicked and thought it was the Iron Head skill, but in fact this thing was even more terrifying. Surprising, right? What could be more desirable than a panda that can fight? Ninth big brother flew down to Long Dead Guard with his teeth showing off to increase his murderous intent. As soon as he landed where that guy was standing, King of Wine punched the ground, causing the ground to crack and make a rumbling sound. Seeing that the opponent had just stepped back, it solemnly placed its two short legs on the place where the person was standing, jerking them away to appear majestic. Temporarily put away the King of Wine trademark smile and raised your hand to pick your nose because the place you just landed on was so dusty. His calm appearance made the Long Dead Guard flustered. I don't understand why this skill still exists in nature and is still so powerful. While he had already merged them all into a single sword strike, suddenly an image of somewhere far away appeared in his mind. Looks like this panda ran out of the park. I think I recognize the right person. Long Dead Guard hesitated and asked, "Could it be that you are Xiao Xiu?" King of Wine stared at the guy in front of him and asked how people knew that guy. In the pregnant willow tree, it is famous as the ninth big brother. Why is there a guy who knows his old stage name? He didn't answer the panda's question and muttered, "Not expecting you to run to Dashin Labyrinth to join the army. If your brother knew about it, he would definitely get angry." King of Wine won't laugh anymore if he talks unhappily. He slightly lowered his face and lowered his voice, saying, "It seems like my brother has been eating and sleeping, but has followed you guys. We have our own path. Why do we need anyone to agree? Long did guard just now criticize and now persuades. If you are willing to cut ties with Dashin Labyrinth, I can take you back. That also sounds interesting, being provided with the same accommodation as my brother. But suddenly King of Wine's face darkened. Never seen it like this. Maybe I'm thinking very carefully. Why don't you go without saying a word? It's a waste of time. Normally, when recruiting employees, one must offer an attractive salary and bonus scheme. But Long Din Guard is not so patient, getting straight to the point. If you don't come back to my team one day, it's only a matter of time before the massacre with your brother will happen. You probably don't want that, right? King of Wine's normally bared mouth with all 32 teeth is now tightly closed. He pondered for a long time and wanted to think more, but this guy pushed too hard. His eyes stared at Long Din Guard, not knowing whether he was happy or sad. Actually, it looks more casual. Open your mouth and say a word and I refuse. Needless to say, the other guy was surprised. He silently assessed the situation. Thinking about where I went wrong, I should have been gentle and tempted the King of Wine with wine. Now it's late, he's already decided and explained his reasons. I do not want to betray divine beings, nor do I want to declare war on my brother. But if that day really comes, I will give this life to my brother. Ned Big Brother's two brown arms were raised to his chest to express sincerity. The Long Did Guard pulled out his light sword and tossed it around in the air, filling the air with smoke and dust, screaming loudly. If you have made that decision, I will now use the strongest move to finish them all at once. Long Did Guard's eyes flashed dangerously behind the mask. Even if I have to die, I will peel off your skin and flesh. Damn it, I'm not allowed to turn around and ask to kill people. The surrounding atmosphere was stirred crazy by the giant energy of that Long Did Guard. The wind blew in the faces of the two Willow Tree brothers. This guy is definitely the final boss. It has been hiding its true strength for a while now. Introduce your brothers to know that even if you can escape this afternoon, you will die from its aftershocks. Whether you accept it or run away, you cannot live. His sword light seemed to absorb all the thunder from heaven and earth, turning it completely purple and making rustling sounds in the air. Dive from top to bottom and roar T, block my attack. King of Wine bared his teeth and squinted his eyes as he looked at the name in front of him and cursed. It's true that Unreal Sublime Rank 2 also has a formidable soldier version. This ace card move is not mediocre. The nine-tailed fox was ready with his younger brother side by side, both trying to see the catapult move. The sound of awe resounded across the sky, accompanied by a sudden purple light that suddenly disappeared as the ice bear fell from nowhere and fell right where the Long Did Guard was. He was performing such a terrible move and was now lying dead under its feet. The bear growled with a ferocious sound. He was tired from running all this time, so now he wanted to make a grand appearance, but suddenly he realized that nearby the oldest sister and the ninth big brother were staring at him. He was surprised and didn't understand why the two siblings' faces were so strange. Well, I appeared to rescue everyone. Please say thank you to make me happy. Seeing that no one spoke up, the ice bear slowly looked at the two brothers and smiled. Hello, I finally caught up with everyone. Miss me? Where is the enemy? Why don't you see? Nine-tailed fox replied. How can you see? You must have spiritual eyes to see the soul of Long Din Guard behind you. The second match ended quickly and boringly. Kim Xiang and Zhao Jio's side is in the most dramatic time. She repeatedly whipped her rope at the fake snakes, making them disappear. Zhao Jiao was forced to retreat to keep his distance. A quick look at the situation outside made him worried. Everyone around is dead. Afraid that if I stay here with this girl for too long, I will die too. Zhao Jiao's eyes stared at Kim Xiang. Actually, she also wanted to find a way to escape because she saw that there was no more chance, but her fiery red eyes definitely did not let Zhao Jiao leave. She seemed to understand the thoughts in her heart and gently said the words, I'll die with them. The hard red vine pierced straight through Zhao Jiao's throat, impaling him like a piece of clothing on a pole. Officially ended several noisy battles. The flower shouted happily. Hey, the second big brother, your friends have won. The bull demon king, who had been bleeding profusely, felt his body gradually exhausted, but he was also happy with the flower. His eyes were both resilient and warm, looking at his brothers and sisters. This is the true power of Dashin Labyrinth. Anyone who is not afraid of death can come to war and see how they will solve it. The rocky outcrop area above about a kilometer away was not bombarded by all sides and had good visibility. Suddenly, a white animal's foot appeared stomping on the ground. The animal with white fur from head to toe whispered to the black one next to it. Luckily, we didn't attack or both bodies would have been down there. From an angle, one can see that they are wolf-like, speaking clearly, and are all high-ranking supernatural animals. Everyone knows that Dashin Labyrinth's power is expanding, but its power is no longer a thing of the past, but a reality that no one dares to be alarmed. Turns out the thing I just said isn't a wolf, it's a white fox from head to toe. It only has green eyes, staring at the red fur in the distance. I didn't expect that Pregnant Willow's subordinates would be from my fox clan. Moreover, it has such terrifying power. The fox turned around and left. The matter here is over, so let's go back. The bloodline of the person they called the oldest sister is not ordinary. Even standing so far away, I could still feel the oppressive aura radiating from her. That's right, the white-haired one can also feel it clearly. It wrinkled its nose and looked in that direction with great determination. One day we will be strong like that. Another land was also plowed to pieces. Broken trees, dust, smoke, and devastation. In the pile of broken rocks, there was a man with white hair and hands, covered in blood and injuries all over his body. He collapsed and thought he was dead. Unexpectedly, when he looked closer, he saw a face that was both familiar and strange. It's strange that an old person is still panting like he's about to die. It's because this person resembles the owner of the White Emperor's citadel. He raised his eyes to look because nearby there appeared a woman's feet with many scratches, her clothes fluttering in the wind like a real farmer. He slowly clenched his fists and looked at him, not knowing whether he was happy or sad. Her lower body was damaged but her upper body appeared to be intact. Wang Hao wrinkled his white eyebrows and gasped, asking the girl opposite if she was awake or not. Looking at He Choling's dark expression, he must have woken up. Oh my God, she's such a stupid girl, yet she let a spirit flower manipulate her psychology. Just heard a mumble. It's just bad luck. Wang Hao shouted and cursed loudly. What is unlucky? What did I do to you? You would have taken everyone's lives. Do you know that I just used spirit power for 50 years to save your life? Do you know what a big price I paid? Look at how skinny and old I am. Who would like me anymore? He Xiaoling still stood there, playing the innocent role. In my heart, I cursed this guy and fought well, but why did his mouth speak so loudly? I wonder if the Bull Demon Kings have successfully escaped yet. It's done here. He Xiaoling didn't want to stand here and listen anymore, so he turned around and left behind the noisy guy. Tell me to rest so I can go see if I still have a chance to steal the flower. Wang Hao did not agree and stretched out his hand to stop her. Wait, I'm the one who saved you, but you can't just leave like that. You must marry me. Because of you, I lost my young life. Before he could finish his sentence, He Choling's figure had disappeared, leaving Wang Hao in a daze. The owner of the White Emperor's citadel, as splendid as he was abandoned by a girl who finished playing with him. Who would cry for this pain? Zhao Jiao's body hung on the ground and never came down because no one cared about him anymore. His face was dark and his body cold, indicating that Zhao Jiao was clearly dead. Zhao Jiao's signature purple streak flew through the branches of the ancient tree, looking for a way out. Log out of his body, but his soul still has enough strength to run away from this place. As he left, he angrily cursed, not expecting Dashin Labyrinth's reinforcements to be so strong. Even the long-dead guards' men died. I secretly thought that I was lucky that I still had this soul. Even if I lost my body, I would still have the opportunity to become a human in the future. Zhao Jiao plugged in the accelerator and accelerated at full speed, not expecting a round mouth full of fangs to appear from somewhere on his left wing. He had put himself right in range of speeding, so he couldn't brake or turn the car. The elf centipede bit into Zhao Jiao's dream soul, causing it to emit a blinding light. In the centipede's claws, Zhao Jiao's soul was gradually rolled from a giant purple ball into the size of a small tennis ball. Let go of He Choling's outstretched hand. Once in your hand, there is no way to reincarnate, Zhao Jiao. Everything is now coming to an end. Early the next morning, news of the stormy battle between experts to steal spirit flowers that left many people dead finally reached the federal ears. It shocked an entire region because of its brutality, So much so that even one witness was no longer alive to tell the story. Among those who died in battle, there was also shocking news. Heavy members of the long-dead guard could not escape. The news that Rank 2 Zhenhai City Master Zhao Jiao had died spread extremely quickly. People organized a search team for several days without finding the bodies of two people who participated in the battle that day, He Choling and Wang Hao, who were determined to be missing with unknown whereabouts. There are many rumors surrounding these two people, but I lean toward the theory that they both went to find a faraway place to hide. And where do you think they went? The situation is now very tense as the entire Federation is besieged on all sides. Not only are strange beasts breaking out in groups, even mutant wolves are also attacking many tribes. The total number of deaths has reached 300,000. It turned out that He Choling and Wang Hao did not escape together, but yesterday they both managed to drag themselves back to the unit. Each person is injured in a different way. Elsewhere in the Federation, a research group has found a special mutant beast with an appearance that looks quite similar to humans. Many people believe that it is an artificial creature that was stopped from genetic experiments a long time ago. In the federal meeting room, someone was informing subordinates if the recent information was correct. After investigating the data of the old military base, it was completely destroyed, taking all the experimental staff missing, leaving the scene full of blood. It was clear that there had been a fight, but the incident and cause were unclear. What is cause? Could it be that because someone was silenced, he spoke up and asked his doubts? That question was not answered. Instead, it was the latest video from Australia where a giant ancient creature was disturbing the cities, terrifying the people. Hundreds of thousands of people died after its attack, and the number continues to increase because people have not counted them all. The situation over there is very tense. I heard that all Australians are trying to prolong their lives. Another person held up a sign saying that the border guards had just sent information about some ancient creatures found, traveling towards the Huaxia Federation. Currently, no one knows what purpose they are aiming at Huaxia. We only know that at this speed, it will take about a month to arrive. The Huaxia gang is as tangled as a thread. The commander in the striped vest listened silently to the report. That place is mobilizing all resources to handle this matter because Huaxia has no road big enough for this monster to travel. No matter how it enters, it won't cause trouble in the city. The important thing that hasn't been announced yet is that people have to ask, what level is that creature? Looking at the employee's face, you know he didn't forget, but because he was too scared to speak up and had to wait for his boss to ask. Because according to data obtained 2 months ago, it has already reached rank 3. The number obtained today is already 4. It has already reached the supernatural rank 4, boss. What do you say? You guys brought the oxygen tank over for me to breathe. Level 4 is already a monster, not classified as a living creature anymore. Yes, boss. That's why I didn't dare to report it from the beginning and let the boss ask. Calculated so far in terms of size or strength level, this is also the strongest strange beast, but to be honest, according to the collected data, it is unknown whether this is its highest rank or not. 2 months ago, I was ranked 3rd, but now I'm ranked 4, maybe 1 more month and I can reach rank 5. The boss was sweating profusely when he heard the employee's report. Thinking about the monsters of Dashan Labyrinth made him scared. This ancient one is twice as strong as them. Call all the officers here and get ready for the meeting. All unrelated matters should be stopped. The national conference will be held tomorrow. Wait, boss. I know you're panicking, but Dashan Labyrinth winning the Spirit Flower is a big deal. We haven't forgotten that. Dashan Labyrinth has always been a pimple on the butt, waiting for a month for the Federation to finish dealing with this huge beast that swallowed the flower of humanity and will rush in there to pull the flower out. The boss has the intention to calculate everything. Then rest assured, where people are planning from AZ, just as he was planning to go to Dashan Labyrinth after quelling the rebellion outside. Wu Ziyu carried his 8-winged gourd and ran to the cold ice mountain and swung a few tree branches. Honey Badger hasn't appeared in a long time because she's busy working as a nanny, taking care of and being abused by the children. It looks skinny. In some places it was wrapped, in other places it was carried up and used as a concrete pillar for the crotch-shaped white wolf to pee on. After urinating all over the honey badger's body, the white wolf got itchy on its nose, sniffed a few times, and then sneezed out a stream of fire that burned the honey badger's face. That snake was wrapped around his brother's body, but he knew how to avoid the head, then jumped to the side and roared loudly when he saw the honey badger holding its flaming head, running and rushing while shouting, "Damn, it's so hot! Here it's covered in snow all year round. Where can I find water to dip my head in? Let me leave it, brother." The wolf's white fur head spat out a pile of ice. Honey badgers are no different from the core of cheese pearls. It's rigid inside and doesn't move and can't do anything. Damn, what kind of twisted game is it doing? Wuziu from above saw them playing a strange game, but rather, this quartet only played with each other. No one could play with them. He thought back that after the kidnapping and fight with the federal people, Wuziu decided to secretly take his younger brothers and sisters here to stay with him for safety. The most surprising thing is that Alang can eat ice and fire Lingxi to increase his strength, plus each head has a different strength. Open the information panel and briefly check its information. Still the first rank, holding both twin elements at the same time, so both sides operate independently, spraying ice and fire. And think independently. Ok fine. Special ability. The two-headed wolf's biting speed is many times higher than that of a normal wolf because it has two sets of teeth. Talking about the ice pole on its white fur head is as effective as the honey badger just tested. It can emit extreme cold as soon as it activates its ice attribute. The fire paralysis rocket's spirit power creates a source of fire that burns everything around it, and the tiny snake raised by Kinkie has now become a giant snake. The three-headed mutant green snake has a natural destiny of immortality. Listening is knowing a special skill. Losing one head grows another head, capable of copying the skills of other creatures. This means that after stealing the ability in the blood of another species, it will grow an additional head with the ability of the newly killed species. I really hope that one day it will grow 10 heads. Special ability. Venom ejected from its mouth can be deadly. Not only that, the 6 great snakes also have scale armor that specializes in defense to weaken the enemy's attacks and a knack for naval combat. Finally, the growth capacity with enough food will grow extremely fast with increased body size. Wuziu was surprised and used a vine to bring the 6th giant snake closer to him and asked it if it knew that it was good at water combat. He probably didn't know because he lived on land, but Wuziu was a big boss. So he shouted out loud the words "little killer whale." Very quickly, the sea near his feet raised the head of a horned dolphin and meowed. It looked ferocious, but it was extremely gentle. It even showed a toothy smile at the pregnant willow tree. This killer whale has joined Wuziu's multi-species company since its previous capture. He was also the first soldier to set out from the sea, so he let the 6 great snakes climb on the little killer whale and entrusted it to take care of the 3-headed snake. The killer dolphin actually accepted the snake on its back and happily let out a few mewing sounds. Wuziu also found it strange that he looked fierce, but his mewing was so cute. "It sounds so cute and coy, I want to slap you." He took out his root and gently kissed the great snake goodbye, sent little killer whale to practice to reach rank 2, and then picked him up. He and the 3-headed snake don't look like a boss sending soldiers to school. More like a mother sending her child to kindergarten. Little killer whale carried the 6 great snakes gradually out to sea, echoing the sound of goodbye. "Dear Mother Wuziu, wait for me to finish learning the alphabet, and then come back soon to tell my mother." After entrusting the 6-headed snake, Wuziu used a vine to wrap Alang's neck and drag him into the Lingxi ice tunnel, letting it continue to absorb until it could control the element and then stop. "You play with me, and you spit out a bunch of badger like that. How can you do that?" So they let you play alone. And this naughty little monkey is assigned to the wild boar and his wife and Huzi. He picked up the baby and was delighted that the bigger the family, the merrier. After the boss sent his employees for training, the honey badger broke through the ice and came out with a messy head looking like some African boy had just returned from Africa. He turned back to where he had been and looked around but couldn't see his 3 brothers anywhere. The star just entered the ice a little bit and came out without seeing anyone. Is the ice age over? He was screaming a few times and was about to jump away, looking for his juniors to continue playing hide and seek. Behind him, someone was poking his butt. This way, he turned around and looked. Seeing her pregnant belly close to her face, she said, "I will train you myself. Both Huzi and the wild boar are far superior to you, you lazy bastard. What's wrong with being patted on the butt from childhood to adulthood, but still being lazy?" Wu Ziyu pulled out the ropes and hit the honey badger with a thud. He could dodge it, but he couldn't dodge it. He hit him again and scolded this lazy thing. "Hurry up. If you don't, I'll beat you to death." The brothers standing outside heard the continuous beating and thought the boss was angry and poured out on Honey Badger's head. Suddenly I saw him being so cute and sociable, but being unfairly beaten by his boss made me feel so bad. For the next few days, regardless of whether it was morning, sun, or rain, Wu Ziyu's slaps and shouts were always heard. The Honey Badger's cry echoed through the mountains and sky. 5 days later, Honey Badger appeared with six-pack muscles, looking like he had just gulped 10 kilograms of whey powder into his body. "It looks like a willow tree's child." Wu Ziyu held out the string to give it a like. 5 days of near fatigue and hellish special training were not in vain in the end. From now on, change its name to Muscle Badger. Those superhumans of rank 1 and below have no chance of whipping Badger's butts. The leading kestrel suddenly soared forward, making a joyful noise as if announcing news, and then circled several times in the sky. Wu Ziyu and his muscular employee looked up happily to see that their boys were back. If the boss is happy, then he is excited. He took a pose to show his brothers and sisters the results of his quick training. Shining brightly, handsome, muscular, he is an ideal model that will surely surprise you when you meet him. 2 feet put down. Even from a distance, seeing a honey badger is terrifying. It's true that gymers who specialize in lifting weights have terrible muscles. It wasn't until the brothers and sisters walked closer that he realized his size was okay compared to Cane of Wine. But I lost the level, and this panda has reached rank 2. The rest have not even been touched by a badger's groin. From biggest to big to medium to tiny. There are White Tiger, Bull Demon King or Nine-Tailed Fox and King Kiang, who are all second-ranked supernatural beings. In the returning group, there were Polar Bears and Kim Chiang, the lowest of which was already an extraordinary level. Suddenly, the muscular honey badger felt so small that I changed my name to be famous. I wanted to show it off, but I was too shy, so I stole it and put it inside, pretending I wasn't even here. Wu Ziyu ignored the unhappy employee, his eyes only fixed on a strange newcomer. It was always hovering next to the Bull Demon King, with 7 petals emitting a brilliant light. New characters also need a welcome spirit flower. Looking at my staff returning home, it was no different than when they left. Wu Ziyu changed his target to the 7-colored spirit flower. He didn't expect it to come all the way here for him to see with his own eyes. If you just look with the naked eye, you certainly won't be able to fully grasp the reasons why people fight for robbery. You must immediately open the Spirit Flower information panel to see its properties. Even though he had prepared himself in advance, Wu Ziyu was still overwhelmed by the powerful light emanating from the status window. He had to use vines to block the light. He was sweating profusely. Sure enough, when the expert was challenged, the information panel also changed to rainbow colors. Limited Promax Edition Spirit Flower called Manhwa Heavenly Land, Supernatural Rank 1. A temporary, unawakened natural gift with a very cool name is the moment that allows Manhwa Heavenly Land to pause time with a breath that costs millions spirit power points. Special abilities include manipulation. Activating the scent can easily control and confuse creatures within a range of several thousand meters. The second ability has a blessing that increases a large amount of spirit power for the creature it blesses or uses the virgin flower to make the spirit flower obey its command. Finally, the gathering of spirits absorbs the spirit power of heaven and earth and gives it to itself many times more than normal. After reading it, Wu Ziyu started to sweat profusely because his natural talent line was so different. He kept looking at the words freezing time over and over again. But he didn't expect that now there were creatures so mutated that they could control the flow of time. Excitedly approaching the flower, Wu Ziyu smiled and praised it. It was so good. It was just a single flower that stopped time. But his face looked more like a threat, scaring the spirit flower so much that it stepped back and stammered. Boss stammered and couldn't even say hello. Suddenly realizing that I was too excited, the willow tree's pregnant belly stepped back and laughed, trying to defend. I just said that. I didn't mean anything. It made the flower even more scared to death. There is no guy who intends to do anything dangerous, but says he has bad intentions. Moreover, the face with the words danger clearly written on it is not at all reputable. Wu Ziyu probed the spirit flower to see if it knew about his abilities, then asked if the spirit flower could help him cultivate the spirit flower and spirit grass. She replied yes, if she had enough aura she could master this skill in half a month. But she also swallowed half of the spirit flowers and herbs to make food for herself. But the success rate is still 50%. Of course, Wu Ziyu happily agreed immediately, then let the nine-tailed fox do the job of finding spirit flowers and spiritual herbs. During this time, please stay by my side to ensure safety. By the way, the boss is interested in the new flower K of wine and asks for permission to go to Dashan Labyrinth to find bamboo to chew on to relieve his boredom. There is no such delicious food in this cold Arctic, and Wu Ziyu also approved the leave application immediately. Lin Ho Flower suddenly remembered something when King of Wine turned away and called it back. I thought it was asking King of Wine to find plants and grass for me, but I expected him to wait for me to come and find him. He said he has to stay with divine beings now but will soon go to Dashan Labyrinth and hope Ninth Big Brother doesn't leave. There were only two people here who looked the most like a man and a woman, Wu Ziyu and Kim Xiang. Both of them cried out, "Oh, I love you," just like the neighbors who are eager for drama. Looking at the muscular badger and the stupid tiger, they don't care at all. The audience's actions made the spirit flower visibly shy. It curled its two petals like a hand to cover its red face and said it was because I thought King of Wine was very handsome and I liked him very much. Responding to the youthful love filled with the colors of the spirit flower, Ninth Big Brother bared his teeth and asked, "Where do you like to go? If you want to go back to Dashan Labyrinth, what does it have to do with me? Don't bother me anymore." After he finished speaking, he went straight. Even the stupid tiger and honey badger can see its coldness. Let alone Wu Ziyu and the others feeling embarrassed. When someone else boldly confesses their love, he coldly kicks them aside in front of everyone. Needless to say, the flower cries sadly, full of self-pity, and says, "I have lost love." This touched Wu Ziyu's heart. He contemplated that love is like a bowl of vermicelli, with as many noodles as there are strands of love. Spirit Flower gave Kate of Wine an entire bowl of vermicelli, which he then poured into a jar of shrimp paste and 2 pounds of kumquats that were both sour and inedible. Wu Ziyu's company has free time to think about love, but the Huaxia Federation is loudly releasing warplanes and warships to start a campaign to search for a dark, rank 4th monster that is diving in a faraway place. It heard a buzzing sound in the sky and in its sea area and immediately raised its tall, dark body, revealing 2 eyes as high as those of fighter planes. As soon as it glanced at its bloodshot eyes, it discovered that it was surrounded on all sides. A flock of iron mosquitoes and flies hovered in the sky, making a lot of noise, not disturbing the peaceful morning. The Navy group inside the ship locked onto the target and quickly rose to the surface of the sea, preparing to fight. Suddenly the voice ended. "Open fire." Hundreds of guns on the fleet poured bullets continuously into the black mass ahead. Above, the jets rained down missiles, each one firing bullets at full power and crashing into the strange beast's body. If it hits, you will hear a violent bang. If it doesn't, it will fall into the water and stir up noisy waves. It looked like a torrential rain poured down on the demon beast's body, standing tall and without resistance. He just stood there while people rained bombs and bullets on him and then blared red with hatred. Resolutely it opened his big mouth full of fangs. It let out a deafening roar and then opened its mouth wide, creating a loud sound wave that stirred up the sea surface in front of it. Its power was enough to turn to ash several missiles both above and below that were flying towards me at high speed. The planes exploded like toys. Soon the sound waves reached the aircraft carrier and the naval fleet behind, knocking them to both sides. Just trying to keep their balance, a fleet raised a giant missile, immediately opened fire and shot at the strange beast to counterattack. The missile soared towards the 4th-ranked creature, which opened its mouth and looked lifeless, not knowing where it hit, but the bang that erupted was extremely loud. The flames on the water's surface were blazing with waves and the shock power shot backwards, wanting to puncture several metal panels on the ship. Humans tried to resist until the missile's final power series exploded. Several Marines raised their bloody heads in confusion, asking with such terrible destructive power, they were not sure if it had been hit. Although it was hit, this rank 4 strange beast was unharmed. It appeared later with smoke as if born from hell, still baring its monstrous teeth and now only a few meters away from the fleet. Some people could not bear it and collapsed on the ground in pain. What should I do if I fight like that and can't defeat it? It glanced red eyes down at the ship below, slowly closed its mouth, letting out a bit of smoke, then rammed its head into the aircraft carrier. Easily flip it down and completely destroy it. Its bloodthirsty face was broadcast live and clearly on the screen. It made the high-ranking officials look pale. This is the last image of the aircraft carrier recorded before it completely collapsed, also leaving people confused. Human weapons have absolutely no effect on level 4 beasts anymore, while this is the most powerful weapon we have. Needless to say, in times like these, everything falls on the commander. He feels that the situation of the Huaxia Federation is now very dangerous. But this ancient sea beast, after taking down all the ships, stood still in the middle of the sea for a long time. It seems to challenge people. There are 40 days left until Wu Ziyu's all-out war with the ancient creatures. At this time, he was still engrossed in testing the flower's strength, especially the spirit-gathering skill that specializes in absorbing the spirit power of others. Wu Ziyu saw it himself and still couldn't believe his eyes. He admires this ability so much. If you have a way to attract spirit power points like that, you won't have to waste your time hunting for points. Suddenly the system panel shows that a new strange ability has been checked. Do you want to use 100,000 evolution points to start it? Wu Ziyu was extremely surprised to see the new skill unlocked so suddenly and unexpectedly. Of course, he chose to start watching right away. The 0.1 second moment natural talent can stop time for an instant with million points of spirit power. Current proficiency level 1/1000. The system helped Wu Ziyu take one step and he had to do the remaining 999 steps himself. Wu Ziyu staring at the new system panel, a talent appeared, a moment in 0.01 seconds. Condensing time in one breath consumes millions of spirit power points and is currently only 1/1000 effective. At first, I wished I could possess such a powerful ability, but I didn't expect it to become a reality. Willow trees also possess the ability to become pregnant. That was wrong, sorry guys. Possesses the ability to control time. The flower next to me suddenly spoke. I will transport the entire set of spirit power and gather it into this willow tree to let divine beings go further or have higher abilities. Wu Ziyu shouted loudly. Why did you say something like the word of farewell? The 7-colored flower petals look wilted and withered. I feel guilty, just only losing love. But you don't want to live anymore. The flower does comfort Wu Ziyu. It's okay, just lost love. Take care and you'll get better. Just because it is a flower with the ability to control the mind, when suffering from mental problems, it deteriorates so quickly. When she said, I'm dead, this time I'm dead, Wu Ziyu silently dripped in a drop of life essence. The flower doesn't know what this squishy liquid that looks like saliva is. Why did Wu Ziyu suddenly drop on my head? But surprisingly, it brought 2 newly revived flower petals around it and shouted with joy. Why am I suddenly no longer tired? What kind of magical spirit fluid is this? The willow tree's face smiled sinisterly. He didn't say what it was, he just wanted the flower to know that he was very strong. Returning with a new ability, the pause time is only 0.01 seconds. But consuming 1,000,000 spirit power points is okay. Just looks like this is a very difficult skill to use. Now the proficiency level has only reached 1/1000, so I'll definitely have to spend more time upgrading it in the future. Then just keep practicing. With the flower's incredible ability to absorb spirit power, having enough spirit power to use the ability is not a problem. The willow tree and the flower cheered happily and continued practicing. Come on. While the boss is busy upgrading his strength, the employees are more free than usual. Where did they get a projector with a mat and it looked like they were holding a civic education class? King of Wine hugged a young bamboo shoot and asked King Qiang what he was doing. Why bring out all these teaching materials? He replied that he was preparing to show a movie. This is one of the ways of human entertainment. Before living with animals, he was a human being. A few days ago, these devices were shipped from Qingfeng, a city of Huaxia, and by the way, they also brought a phone to connect. Now you can go in and choose any movie you want, then show it and watch it. However, there is only King Qiang phone signal here. I'm afraid the signal is not good, and I can't watch it. King of Wine is also curious to see what movies are. At the zoo, he had heard people talking about these things before, but he had never tried them. But in the end, a martial arts movie was played for his 2 brothers to watch. Needless to say, King of Wine was excited. I could also hear the actor screaming as the bullets fell, the Buddha's door, and all things lay still, holding in his hand the auspicious spirit of all sentient beings being equal. Films made by the federal government must be different. No matter how much they engage in martial arts, they must include a sentence. The Huaxia people never give up, making King of Wine and Honey Badgers angry. Breathing heavily, do you like not giving up? King Kiang just found it funny that they looked like two children. At the part where the opponents provoke each other to dive in to search for food, Huzi and the wild boar come along. See, the four of them laughed hi-hi-ho-ho excitedly at the scene of the two characters fighting. King Kiang doesn't understand why they like it even more than me. Movies about humans and strange animals are so funny, at the point where the main character begins his heroic song. Being a person without a dream is like a salted fish. The fire in my heart will never go out from my dreams. Then two big brothers, ancient empire, and ice piercing come to watch. King of Wine's heart-touching words, filled with dreams on his heart full of food, he firmly stood up to imitate the actors in the movie. 2 lines of tears flowed in praise. Good man. While watching a movie, a federal emergency alert suddenly appeared showing an image of an ancient beast rushing ashore and trampling a human city. Below the video is the text Emergency Level 1 Warning. Suddenly King of Wine saw something strange on the screen, about a rank 4 strange beast crawling onto the shore. He heard it but suddenly went to the screen and told King Kiang he wanted to see this news first. Of course, he agreed and was ready to broadcast some more related news for King of Wine to see. They alerted the waters of the Huaxia Federation that a rank 4 strange beast had appeared. According to its estimated speed, in 28 days it will officially bombard Yennai City, so the country will issue a level 1 warning asking all people to withdraw to choose Tam City. The image below is when the monster crawled across the city. Every time it moved, houses fell, trees broke, people scattered. Because of the severity of the problem, the Huaxia Federation issued continuous warnings for people to seek shelter. Suddenly, at the scene of the destruction scene, King of Wine shouted loudly, "Stop here! Stop here!" King Kiang didn't understand anything but still followed and pressed the stop button on the screen, keeping the image on the mat. King of Wine stared at the number of people fleeing at the monster's feet. Pay attention to one of the girls whose face is unknown. Saw a 9th big brother pressing his eyes and nose close to the screen where that girl was. King Kiang confused. What are you asking? Panda, did you see something strange on the screen? Before King Kiang came closer to watch, 9th big brother spoke up and said, "No, nothing." But its expression was so strange that it didn't look like anything he had just said, because his eyes kept staring at the running pink-haired girl. After watching it, it suddenly left into the forest and told me to go look for food. The guys don't understand anything. They were having fun just now. Why are they like this now? Both King Kiang and Honey Badger don't understand why they look at each other like you're making him sad, right? The other group was watching movies at the Essence Lake. Kim Xiang was comfortably soaking with the mantis and weaver ants couple. There's nothing like taking a dip after tiring days of fighting long distances. The stupid tiger didn't dare to get down, but seeing everyone so comfortable, he'd also wanted to let his 2 front legs bow down on the ground and stick out his tongue while no one was paying attention to take a bite. Suddenly, Wu Ziyu came from nowhere, grabbed his crotch, and immediately shouted, "You guy, you can't go into the lake." The tiger was startled and turned around to look at him with disgust. He pointed the vine in a far direction where there was a deep, dense forest and asked White Tiger, "Do you see that place? Whether you see it or not, you have to go there to practice. Only when you reach rank 2 will I let you go home." The tiger was hesitant to stay here, but decided to chase him back to a remote place where there was no one, so he didn't want to go. "If you don't go, you'll be spanked." Wu Ziyu lashed out and roared, "Go quickly." The stupid tiger spread its wings and flew away, mewing pitifully. The boss chases away his biological child more than his stepchild. Tianguan, who was soaking peacefully, suddenly stopped and stood up, splashed by the water effectively. With such a wonderful feeling like this, does it mean the time has come? Wu Ziyu was pleased to see a column of light shooting high into the sky from his tiny tiger. Tianguan, is it time to advance? Sure enough, a few seconds after the light pillar disappeared, Tianguan appeared with a cool appearance. The second rank difference below the notice board also told Wuziyu that Tianwen's Tianji skill had terrifying potential that far exceeded the normal talents of other small species. Its ability includes sharp scale armor. The surface is covered with a layer of yellow scale armor like armor, which is what makes it look stronger. Accompanied by it is a sharp sickle, also known as a sickle, that can cut everything neatly. Adding the ability to absorb power allows it to absorb 3 parts of the opponent's power into its own and explode out at once. Since reaching rank 2, Tianwen also has an additional type of power called Power Increase by consuming a large amount of spirit power every 10 seconds. The power doubles once every 10 seconds. Just keep multiplying until you reach your limit or are hit by an enemy before it disappears. Another cool thing that maybe some people haven't noticed is that Tianwen now has a pair of thin wings on his back called Thin Winged Black Needle. Helps it increase flying speed and attack on a large scale. It can be said that the attack and defense are perfect. Needless to say that Kim Xiang and the Green Mantis find it very cool. The body has even become bigger and can fly. The other two can call it 10 points of admiration. Using his new appearance, Tianwen flew to the big boss to present and say that the wings were not right. He had 3 pairs of wings that looked like a butterfly and 2 longer antennae. It looked much older and more mature when it clasped its hands in front of the divine beings and reported that it had become stronger than before. Wuziyu was still thinking about the golden ant's status chart, especially the part about increasing its power exponentially every 10 seconds, and couldn't help but marvel. He asked the yellow ant if he could sense that he had enhanced power. You can now increase your strength several times. Tianwen raised his fist immediately. If the boss wants to know, I will try it on the spot for everyone to see. It stood from the air and slammed its fist into the ground, but before it touched the ground, it created a terrible force that blew up all the soil and rocks within a range of 10 meters at once. When the smoke cleared, the ground where it had physically impacted cracked and stretched away from where the willow tree was standing. Ruined the group's soaking pool. Just now. Tianwen, raise your hand. Report to boss. I tried my best to only double my strength. What did the flower say that the effort doubled? That's very strong, you know? The other two didn't know what to say. They heard Tianwen say he couldn't advance to level 3 anymore because his body wasn't strong enough to endure it. While discussing Tianwen's new power, Ninth Big Brother came from nowhere. He raised his hand to greet everyone and asked what game they were playing here that cracked the ground like that. No one had time to answer, but the flower jumped up first. It called out loudly, Ninth Big Brother, as if it was the first time seeing King of Wine, and flew towards it. Infatuation with men must be reincarnated to end. King of Wine didn't pay attention to the flower that kept screaming. Handsome man just walked straight to Tianwen and realized that he had just upgraded and did not hesitate to praise him for looking both strong and handsome. Even though he really wanted to fight him, this time he came to find a fox for something to do. Both Tianwen and Wuziyu didn't quite understand until King of Wine raised his head to see his eldest sister sitting on the willow tree with bright orange-yellow hair. He turned around and asked if we could fight a bit. The nine-tailed fox shook his fluffy fur and of course accepted the invitation to immediately jump down to King of Wine. It walked carefully step by step towards the ninth bog brother, whose face was dark, looking extremely dangerous. Wuziyu saw that the two of them were about to fight and immediately opened a betting game to see who would win. One side believes the nine-tailed fox wins, the other side bets the panda wins. Above, the boss was as cheerful as if he had caught gold. Below, King of Wine was also full of serious spirit. He came to the nine-tailed fox and said, I want to fight you. Suddenly its whole body lit up with intense power, its cold face staring at the nine-tailed fox. I really want to know how a proud expert like you would feel if he lost. He would feel like he was trampled under someone else's feet. What is what? Could it be that he hopes the nine-tailed fox will refuse and say, What are you talking about? I don't understand. On the contrary, he glared with animalistic eyes and spit out threatening fire. Unfortunately, I also have the feeling of wanting to know the same thing. This is the first time the nine-tailed fox has such a bloodthirsty appearance. As soon as he finished speaking, the nine-tailed fox's entire body glowed with the power of a fireball. On the other side, King of Wine was no less, using all 4 limbs of fire to burn the whole area. Both of them are of the fire element. If they're so hot, it must be serious. Wu Ziyu, enhancing the roots of the tree, wrapped the spectators around them to leave the dangerous range and warned no one to get too close. If you are careless, you will immediately lose your life. Wu Ziyu knew that his 2 employees had exhausted themselves on this trip. This land will definitely be destroyed, and it will take several days for him to clear it. The 9-tailed fox spits out fireballs. Its eyes are white and menacing, ready to enter battle immediately. On the other side, facing the eldest sister, was 9th big brother, also burning with fire and a wrinkled forehead. The 2 of them burst into flames like that, and for a moment the ice under their feet melted away and burned to the black ground. They were about to ask who would be the one to make the move. Suddenly, a crisp cry rang out on the ground. King of Wine cautiously looked straight towards where the 9-tailed fox had just stood, but it had already disappeared. His feet stepped on the cold snow and appeared behind his younger brother. As soon as he discovered that the 9-tailed fox had circled behind King of Wine, he immediately turned around and performed the imprisoning kick technique. With such terrible speed like this, if you let your guard down, you will lose. The snow exploded with a loud noise and gathered around the area where King of Wine had just stood up, forming several tall columns of snow as if someone had dropped a large rock into the middle of a lake. The wind and snow blew rushingly across the audience, who were trying to keep their eyes open to follow the developments. The first move already has such terrible power, Wu Ziyu thought thoughtfully. For a long time now, his juniors have all gone out to work. As a company boss, I mainly worry about training the kids and planning strategies. It seemed like a long time since he had seen the real strength of the staff with his own eyes. Beneath the sharp claws of the growling 9-tailed fox, King of Wine raised his hands high, trying to resist. However, his mouth is still excited. It has to be like this. It has to be like this, so we can risk it all. One of its hands wielded a fist, emitting a fierce yellow light, swinging it forward. But the 9-tailed fox narrowly dodged it. The shot grazed its right fur. The force's landing place exploded, sending away a thick layer of snow behind, scattering up the scene, blocking visibility to some extent. King of Wine quickly jumped out of the place where he had just fought when the golden column of strength held back his eldest sister. It flew in the opposite direction, intending to take advantage of the snow smoke to carry out its plan. But about 20 meters away, a column of fire with sudden force fell down, blocking its path. King of Wine didn't think the 9-tailed fox could chase him away so quickly, but it was true that the fox appeared right before my eyes with its winding tail and the fur on its nape shining with fire. The 9-tailed fox looks like it was made from fire. He slowly walked out and spoke, eyes staring at his younger brother, and then exerted some kind of power so bright that it wanted to blow King of Wine away. It was a giant pillar of fire with a diameter of up to 5 meters, making the silhouette of 9th big brother blur. Just like being exposed to kerosene, it violently swept through the forest within its range. The snow couldn't support it. Even the leaves, flowers, and branches were blown away in all directions. The forest surrounding the 9-tailed fox looked like a forest fire had just occurred. Everything was naked in the sea of fire until the trees had only their dead black trunks coming out, emitting smoke. Wu Ziyu watched from afar and realized that the area the 9-tailed fox could burn was more terrible than he thought. It burned fiercely even after the eldest sister struck. For a long time, he wondered if the 2 of them wanted to kill each other. Every attack that comes out has terrifying destructive power. 9-tailed fox squinted and looked ahead to assess the situation. He knew his fire must have blown up the whole area, and King of Wine couldn't get out of this place in time. Suddenly in front of the 9-tailed fox appeared a ball as bright as the moon on a full moon night, swirling the smoke a few times. Then King of Wine appeared without any injuries. Is a great fireball skill that can activate the body's ability to transform into a fiery ball. With a glance at Wu Ziyu, he immediately knew that King of Wine did not use his fireball, but its own ball that absorbed the 9-tailed fox's fire. 9th big brother bounced his feet on the ground, still burning with fire, his whole body entering a super dangerous fighting state, glaring at his opponent. Its cloak fluttered behind it as its mouth opened slightly to let the smoke inside spill out. King of Wine can talk, but now it doesn't talk. He opened his mouth and coughed, and the 9-tailed fox responded in the same way. He also opened his mouth full of teeth to respond to his younger brother. It looks like the 2 of them have no intention of giving up. Wu Ziyu threw a wild tree to stop them, lest they plow up this island and die. Who would have thought that as soon as he arrived, he would suddenly hear King of Wine declare, "Enough, I've lost." The white fur on its face was dirty with ash dust. Its eyes returned to their round shape and looked at the nine-tailed fox. "You are really strong, nine-tailed fox." The eldest sister didn't say anything. She was naturally quiet, and King of Wine's sentence was a conclusion, not a question. But the nine-tailed fox's facial expression still looks tense. It hasn't dilated at all, just staring. But the audience was also completely stunned by the unexpected ending of the battle. Kim Xiang could not believe that King of Wine actually spoke up and admitted defeat. Wu Ziyu found it strange that King of Wine's style is not as calm as this. It must be said that whoever he wants to fight, he will fight hard. Why did you suddenly admit defeat while you were fighting? What do you want to do? Asking for a fight is also the first request. Bored of beating, Uncle told me not to beat him anymore. Finally, what are you planning to do? Poke fun at the nine-tailed fox who talks so much. King of Wine is the first person to have this ability. He still put on a calm face and said that he really just wanted to know if he had the feeling of facing an opponent as strong as his eldest sister. Whether he could win or not,